graduation dress. I'm gonna wear it for graduation. Let's twirl. It's actually very pretty, right? Welcome to day 11 of Bookmas, which are my DNFs. So today you might get another small sneak peek into some of my channel goals. I'm assuming it's channel. I don't think it's reading. I don't know. It's kind of somewhere in between. I don't know which video it's going to be on. Channel goals or reading goals. But I haven't done a very good job of writing down and keeping track of my DNFs. Like, at all. I think I have 8 DNFs on this list that we're going to talk about. But I believe the number is somewhere around 12 or 13. But I cannot remember the other books that I DNF'd, so they are not going to be included in this video. I feel like the worst booktuber ever. Next year, I actually have like a planner, and I have all of like these sheets that are going to help me. So this like my monthly reading, how many books I want to read, how many I actually read, and then it lists them and gives the 5-star reads and my thoughts all together. My goal is to get organized. I'm just going to quickly go through my DNFs, or the ones I can remember. It's going to be kind of like the Unhaul speed round. So we set The Dark on Fire by Misha Taylor K. Misha? By Misha K. Taylor. There we go. This was the first in a series. It's some kind of fantasy-esque series, which actually I didn't mind that. I did not like the political undertones of this book. It's kind of like a government conspiracy, and I've really learned that I don't like political books or government conspiracies or anything about the government in my reading. It's just not for me. Thinking about it, I really don't consume any kind of like government conspiracy media at all, because government conspiracy type books scare me a lot, actually. There are a lot of things that if you investigate, or if you know a lot of conspiracy theories, then a lot of them go back to the government. And some of you could be rolling your eyes right now like, oh, it's just a conspiracy. But the fact that people actually believe, I'm not going to say if I believe it or not, but the fact that people actually believe that the government was behind 9/11, or that the government is listening in onto your phone calls, which is terrible. But not only that, but if you have a webcam, which, by the way, I needed as a student. I used my webcam all the time, but even when it's not turned on, or you think it's not turned on, there's theories that people can look at you, and that the government is like tracking you everywhere. And I don't like reading those type of conspiracy theories or government type books, because it terrifies me. Like, it really scares me. I don't like the world that we live in for so many different reasons that we are not going to get into, because this video will be so freaking long. But just the fact that people think, or not even that people think, but people can believe that the government is out to get you. Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I tried to read that book for like 3 months, and I didn't get even to page 100, so I finally just decided to unhaul that. The story was good. I liked where the story was going. So the Underground Railroad, you follow slaves who are escaping, and it follows a part of history that I do really want to learn more about. I mean, I love learning about history in general, but for me, that book just rubbed me the wrong way. Didn't like it. It might have been partially the writing style. Saw Kill Girls by Claire Legrand. This sounded so good because it's like a survival island magical story. I did not get that far into it, I'm not gonna lie, but I couldn't keep the 3 main characters apart. They all had the same voice, and that happens to me a lot especially when there's like a lot of characters, when there's more than usually 5, then I can't keep them straight, and I really don't care. There are some books that it's fine that there are so many characters because you can tell them apart. But in Saw Kill Girls, I couldn't tell them apart, and I thought maybe it was just me, but I felt like there were a lot of plot holes, and we went from one thing happening here to being somewhere completely different in the story, and I don't know how they got there. Maybe if I finished the book, I would know how they went from point A to point like Z, or point A to point like R or L or something, but it just didn't make sense to me, and I wasn't enjoying it, so I DNF'd it. God, I hate these videos because they sound so negative, and I'm not a negative person, or at least I try not to be too much. And that is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So I enjoyed Six of Crows to an extent, but I was buddy reading that with Amanda, and the whole time I was like, oh my god, this writing is killing me. Like, I cannot with her writing. And Amanda's like, you know what, I can understand that. She really, really enjoyed it. I think she finished the whole duology, but I just couldn't with her writing. So I finished Six of Crows because that was a buddy read. And then a few months later, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'll give Leigh Bardugo another shot. And again, the story wasn't the problem. The story was fine. The story was good, even. It's like a dark academia murder mystery that takes place at Yale, I believe. And I think there's some kind of secret society, if I remember correctly. So the story is what really appealed to me, but I just can't with her writing. Yeah, this next one is the one that probably hurts me the most out of all my DNFs. I read American Royals by Catherine McGee last year. It made it to my favorite book of the year last year, or one of my favorites. I think it was number 1 though. So I finished off that duology, and I wanted to read another story by her. So I picked up The Thousandth Floor by Catherine McGee, and I love the writing. I hated the characters, and sometimes that doesn't matter, but I hated the characters. It was like rich people problems. It was this futuristic type book, which made it seem kind of sci-fi, but it was more of like a contemporary, and I just didn't care. And then someone dies in the story. That's not really a spoiler. I believe it says it on the back. But I I didn't care when that person died. And I was just like, I felt like I was just reading for the sake of reading, and I wasn't enjoying it, so I stopped. And then if the Thousandth Floor wasn't on this list, this would be my second most disappointing, like, book or DNF for me, because I had such high hopes for this book. So I read The Escape Room by Megan Golding, or I attempted to, because I read The Night Swim by Megan Golding, and The Night Swim was on my best of, or my most favorite from this year. So I was thinking, oh, I'm going to read everything that Megan Golding writes. No. I made it over halfway in this book. I gave it a real shot. It wasn't just like 100 pages in, I'm done, which, if that's what you do when you DNF, that's perfectly fine. I do that sometimes too. But with The Escape Room, I kept pushing myself to keep going and keep going and keep going, because I really thought, I know I've read The Night Swim and I loved The Night Swim. So I was just like, oh, okay, it has to get better, it has to get better, it has to get better. No. So you follow these five different people who are going to this, like, business meeting that ends up being like an escape room, and they get locked. It's supposed to be like a team building exercise. Little do they know that it's for real, and they're like gonna die unless they get out of the escape room. So the stakes are high, but they don't know it. They just think it's a work thing. And they get locked in this elevator, and that's where the escape room starts, and that is the entire book, at least halfway through. They're in this elevator. It's very boring and very anticlimactic. Nothing happens. You do get, from their perspective in the elevator, they tell you how they got there, so you get all these flashbacks. I didn't care about the characters, and I didn't understand why I needed to know where they all came from if nothing happens. And there's literally no plot. Last month, I was supposed to buddy read One by One by Ruth Ware, but it was such a slow process for me. Like, Michael got through it fairly quickly. She said it wasn't very good. I guessed who done it very early on. It's not really like straight thriller in which you're supposed to be like guessing, because it's very, very obvious from the very first page of who killed this person. And one by one, they're on this island in a snowstorm, I believe, and people start dying one by one, and you have like 6 or 7 different perspectives, and you're trying to figure out what happened, but honestly, I didn't care. And then our last one is probably the one I should be most ashamed of, because it's a graphic novel. But if you saw my vlog last month, I'll link it up here. If you saw that, then you might already know what book I'm talking about here. So I picked up Lock and Key, Welcome to Lovecraft by Joe Hill, because I watched the Netflix adaptation of it, and I really, really enjoyed it. But the graphic novels are darker and scarier. I felt like the Netflix adaptation was like very fantasy, kind of dark, and it didn't scare me, but I found it creepy and chilling. I found the graphic novel to be gory and just kind of gross. And I just really didn't want to read it anymore, so I didn't. I think I made it almost 100 pages into that one, though. I think it was like 83 pages. But I really hate making negative videos, like all the DNFs and everything like that. And I really hope that you enjoyed these books if you've read them. They just didn't work for me personally, but books are subjective and we don't always have to agree. It's okay. We can still be friends, right? I want to be your friend. Thank you for watching this video. I'm really sorry that it was so negative, but don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will see you tomorrow with a vlog.